Say hello to a new friend on an old road. Take a two-lane trip of memories into mysteries unknown. Come along for the ride. Jim Hinckley's America. Jim Hinckley's America.
Hey, good morning, my friends. We've got kind of an interesting morning for you. We're going to be talking to some Antonio and Paulina Rico up in Williams, Arizona. Got a lot of reasons to be talking about Williams, Arizona today, especially for those traveling Route 66 in the Southwest, or for folks living out here in Kingman, Arizona, where I do. We're pushing some records here for heat. It's going to be up around 110 in Kingman today. Kind of unusual, especially since we're running into at least a week of these kind of temperatures. Generally, we run, 105 is pretty good. The saving grace is we've got some extremely low humidity, and that's a good news, bad news situation because we got no humidity, we got no rain, and we're going to be hunting jerky instead of deer. Bad fire season as well. And if you really want to taste of purgatory, all you got to do is head just a few miles west of Kingman. You get down in the Colorado River country, she'll be pushing 120 degrees plus down in that neck of the woods. Even for an old dry roasted nut like me, an old desert rat, that's just a tad bit excessive. We got a few things going this morning. Like I said, we're going to be trying to talk to Antonio and Paulina Rico. They've put together a fascinating old motel up in Williams, Arizona, the Arizona 9 Motor Hotel. And I think you're going to find this kind of interesting. I sure did. I was vaguely familiar with the hotel, but I had no idea of its fascinating history. And Route 66, it does not have the market cornered for historic hotels, historic properties like this. But because of the international fan club for Route 66, the popularity of the highway, these things get a little more attention. But there are some incredible living time capsules on Route 66, these old motels. The other thing is you've got like the Wagon Wheel Motel. Cuba, Missouri. Connie Eccles has done a tremendous job of bringing that one to life and giving it a new lease, if you will. It's one of the oldest continuously operated motels on Route 66. We have a new contender for that title, the Rockwood Motor Court in Springfield, Missouri. And of course, you've got other time capsules like the Roadrunner Lodge in Tucumcari, New Mexico. That's a pretty interesting property. It one side is a 1940s motel, and the other side is a 1964. The Leatherwood Manor was the built in 1964, and it blended the 1940s property with the 1960s property. And David Brenner has done an incredible job transforming that into a 1960s time capsule. The 1940s section of the motel, that's on undergoing renovation. That's going to take a bit. Meanwhile, we were talking about the heat, record heat. It's going to be warm in Williams, but Williams, Arizona is always a break for us desert folk. And so let's take a trip up to Williams this morning. Antonio and Paulina, how are you this morning?
Good. How are you?
Sir, I am doing fine. It's going to be a tad bit warm today.
Oh, I bet.
How are things in Williams?
Nice weather. It's beautiful right now, and other than a little heat in the middle to late afternoon, but nothing compared to what you've got.
Oh no. I always joke with people, it's you get down in the Colorado River country, Needles, California, and down that way. It's not hell, but if you squint hard, you can see it from there. And today, I guess they're going to be pushing the mid 120s down there on the river.
Yeah,
Oof.
that would be a tad hot.
Yeah, that's a tad bit excessive.
Yes.
Hey, you have a very unique property up there in Williams, the Arizona 9 Motor Hotel. I've walked by that property for better part of 60 years, and I saw it, but I didn't see it. And I had no idea of the incredible history behind that property.
Yes, sir. It's quite unique due to the fact that we're so close to the Grand Canyon that most people overlook Route 66 sometimes. Like it's not what it used to, but it's getting better now. We're trying to bring it back to its glory days per se.
I know you have extensively renovated the property there and turned it into a real oasis for travelers on Route 66, on I-40, or people headed to the Grand Canyon. Uh, when you were doing your remodeling work, did you find any remnants from this early history?
We found a little bit, not much. It seems like the place had been neglected over the last few decades. Se- not many people wanted to do anything with it, and we decided to go ahead and purchase the little hotel and try to bring it back. And I think overall we've done a decent job. We've still got a long way to go, but it definitely looks and feels a lot better. No remnants, but you can actually see the hotel itself as it looked in the early 1930s, I would assume 1940s. But yeah, it's taken a little while.
That's a project and a half. And this is what's happened. Most of the old motels, that's why they're so rare, is they outlived their usefulness. They became outdated. They couldn't compete with chain motels, and maintenance got deferred. Then they became weekly rentals, and then they became eyesores, and then they became condemned properties, and then they were gone.
Uh,
Uh, so for you to give this a new lease on life, that's greatly appreciated. That's greatly appreciated.
we always look for something different or bring it back to what it was. But yes, sir.
How long have you owned the property, Antonio?
We bought it December 29th of last year.
Very good. Yeah, I've run into some business owners that bought their properties. They had grand visions. They bought them at the end of 2019 or the beginning of 2020, just when the apocalypse was getting started. That was not good. Where are you folks from? Are you from Williams, or did you relocate up there?
I was raised in Williams in the 80s after moving there from Mexico. And I actually worked at that little hotel in 1986, I believe. I don't recall the exact dates. So it became kind of an idea to go back now that we are in our early 50s to look for the future retirement property that we wanted to live and find a way to uh, make a little extra money towards the end of our life.
Yeah. This is something I find a lot on Route 66. Route 66 is it's almost become symbolic of the American experience, the American dream, if you will. And properties like this, in your story specifically, this is the American story made manifest. All the way through the history of the property, your personal story, your ownership of the business, your connection to it. It's the American story made manifest.
Yes, sir.
One of the things that got me very excited, and I have not been able to get a hold of Professor Nick Gerlich on this, but when I received Paulina's email a while back with the history, she mentioned she had a note here that the Sutton's Hotel Cottages, 321 West Bill Williams Avenue, there in Williams. Some years ago, Professor Nick Gerlich of Canyon University in Texas, he was researching Route 66 on the Indian reservations, the Wallapai Reservation and others. And he acquired permission from the tribal government to go out and explore these alignments. This is about 10 years ago, but he had found a sign still standing along the road advertising Sutton's in Williams, Arizona. And I will have to get a hold of him, see if he has those pictures, and I will definitely get those to you. But actually, I'm sorry. It said Sutton's, and it had a distance in mileage. And we were discussing whether this would be in Williams or Flagstaff. At that time, we did not know where Sutton's was. But now, well, now we know where it was at.
Yes. Yeah, I don't see, I haven't found anything, any remnants like that, but yes, we are searching for more information on it. And as we find it or, or see it, then we'll also share it with everybody.
Oh, please do. I'll tell you because that creates such excitement. The Route 66, the international Route 66 community, is a really unique animal. Uh, they can be very supportive, but they get excited when they get glimpses, when they get to view time capsules that business owners find about their property. And I will, when I publish the podcast later today, I'll share a bit of this history that you provided about the property because this is just really quite extraordinary. Because if you look at the motel, it exudes. It just really looks like a late 1950s, early 1960s property. And there it is, masquerading as something dating back to the very beginning of Route 66.
That's true. That's true. And yeah, we are. Yeah, we hope to find more and do more at a later date.
Yeah, this is so you've got a long connection. Boy, you got to Williams then in the mid 80s when Williams was going through a transition when they were abandoning Route 66
Yes,
and
it was bypassed in 1984, if I'm not mistaken. So he could have died, very well could have died, but due to the fact that we have uh, the gateway to the Grand Canyon, it
yeah.
it didn't really became like every other town along Route 66, which could have very well happened.
Well, the Grand Canyon was definitely a saving grace. Then the resurgent interest, the Renaissance in Route 66, added to that pretty dramatically. And of course, the Grand Canyon Railway
True.
has made some pretty big contributions. Are you seeing kind of an uptick in tourism now that we're getting the COVID behind us? Are you seeing a more of an uptick with especially the international tourism?
Yes, and that's one of the things that we love the most. It's coming and seeing people from all over the world coming through and staying in places like this. That nostalgic era that people look back to and enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, it fascinates me. My association with Route 66 goes back to about 1959, and yes, I am that old.
Oh,
Um, so it's hard for me to grasp the popularity of Route 66 internationally. And I have contacted the developers of the Route 66 navigation app to make sure they put a 9 in front of the Arizona 9 Motor Hotel. Uh, but the company that developed that is developed by, it's a media company, and the owner is passionate about Route 66, but he's based in Bratislava, Slovakia, of all places.
Well, it takes a real village to bring stuff back, and we go to Seligman and see some of the Delgadillo brothers, how they did their barber shop and their snow cone little shop, and we need to bring everything back the way it was, so that people can enjoy it. Basically, let's give them back
Yeah.
a piece of history.
Well, people, and it looks like you're doing this right because people, they don't want Disneyland. They want, like you said, that nostalgic feel. They don't want to give up things like air conditioning. They want modern amenities, but they also want that feel, that illusion, that romanticized image, if you will.
Very true. Yes, sir.
Uh, how did you come up with the nine? Motel. The name intrigues me. Arizona 9 Motor Hotel.
To tell you the truth, I think it was there a while. What happened was, when I used to work at that place, it used to be called the Arizona Six in
Huh.
the early '80s. So I'm assuming this is not what I know, but I'm assuming that somebody came along, Motel Six perhaps, and said, "Hey, you can't use that." So they decided to flip it into a nine.
Well, that would make sense. That would make absolute sense because by just flipping that around, they're not spending a bunch of money and they can avoid issues. That makes sense on how that would have happened.
Yes, I mean, we would love to bring it back to what it was and bring change the sign back to either the whiting or any of those, but I don't know if that's even possible anymore.
Well, you've got a unique name, but it would be kind of interesting to bring it back as a Whiting Brothers motel. There is one. I don't know if it's operational, but it's a real time capsule. Elderly gentleman runs what is billed as the last Whiting Brothers service station over in Moriarty, New Mexico, and a Whiting Brothers motel would be well, it would be intriguing. It would open a lot of doors for nostalgic marketing. It would open
Yeah,
a lot of doors.
yeah, that would be interesting to do. Again, there's a lot of not issues, but how would you bring it back? Find the sign, turn it over, and then who do you ask permission to? And can you even modify a sign that's been standing for God knows how many years now? I couldn't tell you for sure. And yeah, we'll see. But we'll see. There's a lot more to come, I guess, or will come.
Well, as you've already done and discovered, the ideas you have today are subject to change, and you stumble on something and it starts you on another course tomorrow. Um, it'd be interesting to know how long that sign was there, and if that sign was part of the original Whiting Brothers Motel.
It was. I think they just removed the shield on top and made into a little nine, but or a six at one point. But yeah, I mean it's still the original sign, modified of course. But yes.
Well, that would be interesting. Yeah, if you could find that top piece.
Hmm.
The Whiting brothers story is quite interesting. Of course, the brothers, I can't remember where they started, but over around Holbrook, Arizona, somewhere. They started with gasoline stations and then kind of evolved into motels at some point in their history. Um, I was really fascinated by the fact that the property actually dates back to about 1927 as cottages. When they upgraded the property and made it more into an auto court and then motel, did they remove the cottages or just build around them? Do you have any idea?
I'm not sure. I've looked for old blueprints and I haven't been able to find anything. But the cottages would have been removed, I would assume, because well, I couldn't tell you for sure. All I can tell is that the one section of the property is older than the other one. So the 6 rooms on the west side, right behind the old gas station, I would assume those would have been the cottages, and then the rest was built a little bit later.
You know, I really enjoy these conversations immensely. Uh, Trying to decipher the history of these properties. I just finished, I was working on a project here in Kingman, phase one of a narrated self guided historic district walking tour for Kingman Main Street. And the deeper I got into trying to decipher the history of these properties, the more confusing it became, uh, because apparently some of these communities really didn't bother with things like permits, and it was whatever the owner wanted to do at the time. And there's just no record of the evolution.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you can try to look for different names, different patterns, but yeah, I don't know. Finding records like that, it's again finding a needle in a haystack. Even finding pictures of old areas, it's hard now.
I will put you and Paulina in contact with Mike Ward down in Mesa, Arizona, Joe Sonderman in St. Louis, and Steve Ryder in New York. They're very generous with their collections. Between the three of them, they have easily 75,000 plus Route 66 postcards and photographs from family albums, things of that nature, of Route 66 properties. And they have almost an obsession with trying to help find pictures and information about places. And I'll put you in contact with them. They'd be,
That would help.
I think they'd be really excited. And there's a chance they may even have some pictures of some of these old Sutton's cottages or the Whiting Brothers Motel.
Yeah, that would be very interesting if we could find something like that we can actually post somewhere and share it with everybody.
And it'd be kind of neat. And I know Mike specifically is very good about this, providing enlarged copies of the postcards so they can be framed and used in the motel properties.
That would be
Might be
beautiful. Yes,
might be a lot of fun. Uh,
absolutely.
so this is your first real season
Yes,
on being open. Well,
correct.
I sure hope that you're successful with this because this is exciting. Hey, I've got an unrelated question about that popped up here in my text messages from about Williams. Is Rod's Steakhouse still closed
It's
up in
still
Williams?
closed. Yes, it seemed like the ownership, Lawrence and Stella. Stella obviously passed, but Lawrence, I guess, doesn't really want to do anything with it anymore. It's been closed for a couple of years now, maybe three. I can't recall.
Oh, that's a shame. They've been there since the '40s.
Yeah,
That's a real iconic place.
yeah. It would be neat if somebody would actually try to bring it back. I don't know how difficult it would be now that it's been closed for so long. But yeah,
I don't want to put you on the spot, so please, I don't. That's not my intent. But what is your kind of plan for the property in the next 3 to 5 years? Yeah,
well, we need to redo some of it again and continue to improve the, like right now, the driveway, some of the exterior feel look. But overall, we want to keep it as is. Make it into what it was. It's an old hotel, motor hotel, but we want to give those people the feel of it. Right now, most of the rooms have been renovated, or all of them actually, and they're in very good shape. We just want to try to get the amenities of now included into what it was. Some of the rooms are a bit small, so we can't really do a lot with them. And other than that, I think it would be give him that look, give him that feel of you are coming back into the the 60s, the 40s, the 30s even. So there's a lot of ideas. It's just right now, again, it's expensive to do everything.
Yeah, it's yeah. Money does not grow on trees, and then there's the work involved. When you
Yes.
start renovating these properties, you get into the plumbing, the electrical, and sewage. And
Uh huh. Yes. Yes.
there was one property here in Kingman. Folks were working to renovate, and I don't know how they did this, but there again, it goes back to how there was not a lot of oversight years ago. But the short version is somehow the property was originally built quite a ways east of Kingman. The city grew around it, but when it was built, it had a septic tank. And then when the city came in and they had sewage, they still used the septic tank, but instead of the leach line, they had run a sewage line from the septic tank to the city sewer. And the only way that was discovered was pretty grotesque. When they were remodeling the property, that somebody dropped a backhoe into the old septic tank. Uh,
Yeah.
not a not a pretty
That
picture.
no, and I was gonna say that doesn't sound very appealing at all.
Oh,
Yeah.
I I find this really interesting. The gas station was removed, but 19 well, it lasted up through the 60s. Whiting Brothers.
Hmm.
There's quite a few of these Whiting Brothers motels still along Route 66, but most of them are in pretty poor condition. So this is another reason it's great that you brought this one back to life.
Yeah, it's hard, man. And people, well, not people, but it's just difficult to come out and renovate something that brings again brings it brings a feeling of going back to the old days when it was an actual highway that people ran across the country, and you can't imagine. I can't imagine what it would have been like. So that's why we take trips through the old 66 when we can to again see the country the way it was
Yeah.
in the old days.
Yeah, it's always I run into people a lot that talk about they want the authentic Route 66, and I don't think they do. They want the illusion of authentic Route 66. But I'm old enough, and I drove trucks on a highway when it was Route 66, and I know people don't want to go back to the pre-air conditioned, no air conditioning, and I know people don't want to go back to these things at all. There's some motel owners. I don't know if you've talked with, but if not, I'd be glad to facilitate some introductions that have put together old properties in different eras and how they've accomplished done this pretty well. I mentioned David Brenner earlier. His property in Tucumcari is kind of unusual. It was a 1940s motel, very similar to your configuration, just a one-story single motel. And then in the 1960s, to the east of the property, they built a modern two-story Leatherwood Manor and incorporated the older motel on the west side of the property. And David's done a pretty good job restoring the 1960s property to a good time capsule feel. And he started with a blank slate. This thing was it was bad. It had been empty for decades, and squatters had moved in, and it was not good. Another is Larry Smith. He has the 1959 Motel Safari and has done pretty well bringing that back. And a few weeks ago, we talked to Phyllis in Springfield. She's taken on the task of restoring a 1929 auto court. So maybe a network of like-minded people might be beneficial.
That would be great. Yeah, I mean, I don't oppose to driving out to Doncary or any of those areas and actually meet personally with them. It would be a nice way to just get to know each and every one of those ownerships, and like you were saying, it's become a network of like-minded people to share ideas and even help out on how or what not to do, what the pitfalls are, because you don't know until you open up a floor and you find out that there was no support or no idea of what.
Oh my goodness, Antonio! I can only imagine the things that you've encountered restoring this property.
Yeah, we were
Uh,
looking for studs. We didn't find any though.
oh my goodness! Yeah, I'll put together these introductions. These folks are very generous with their time and information, and it saves the trouble of reinventing the wheel. And it becomes for promotional purposes. This is another unique aspect of Route 66. You have an absolute incredible international network of promotional partnerships to provide support, and it's very special.
Yes, sir. We're actually networking with people from all over the world, trying to find ways to bring back that, like I said, bring back the tourism back to the area, and give them something more. Bring them, a lot of riders come across from through the to the from state to state, and they want to see something. But it's like, well, if you actually take a detour and go through Route 66, and some people go, "What's that?" So, well, let me show you. Let me give you a few pointers. To go here, go there, and stop in certain areas, and actually find a give it life to the those little corners of Route 66 that's still alive and well. And a lot of people know now how to do it, how to find them, but there's some that don't know yet, and we need to help them.
Yeah, Antonio, that and Paulina, that's it. You share a bit of your enthusiasm, a bit of your excitement, and there's a monetary return in the sense that if you can get people to spend an extra day in Williams, everybody benefits. And by passing these people down the road, giving them tips about Seligman, the people in Seligman give people tips about Williams, and you end up passing people down the road.
Yeah,
That's pretty important. You mentioned detours and side trips. I've found that a lot of these communities overlook. Williams is unique. They focus on the Grand Canyon and Route 66 to a lesser degree. They don't advertise and promote places like Dogtown Lake and Kaibab, some of the lakes around the area. Uh, but there's so many detours that you can encourage people to take and spend time in the Williams area.
absolutely, yes. Yes, most people come in, they want to see their Grand Canyon. It's like, wait, wait, wait. There's more to this than just the Grand Canyon. Go around.
There's a great road. I think it's the Perkinsville Road is
Oh, that's a beautiful road. Yes, sir.
going from Williams down to Jerome.
Yes, we've taken
Yeah.
it many, many times.
It's not. I learned the hard way many years ago when I was working in Drake. It's not a road you want to drive when it's rainy or snowy.
Oh, yeah.
I learned I learned that the hard way. But in the summer, that's a gorgeous drive. How many rooms do you have, Antonio?
We have 23 rooms.
Well, that's a pretty fair number. I should be able to. The reason I ask that is I get a lot of questions from tour companies, and it's difficult to find lodging for larger groups. What I mean by that is 20 or more. In a vintage motel, it's hard to find a place where they can bring a group of 20 or more people. So that's why I was asking.
Yeah, we can definitely accommodate that. A bigger group would be, one of those that we have to share with with people around the area. But yes, it's some people don't want to walk too much. Some people don't want to split up. But yeah, we can definitely a smaller group we can take. And
Well, and you mentioned walking. One of the great, beautiful things about your property there in Williams is you don't have to walk very far to find a good piece of pie or a good meal.
no, no, it's right there, 20 feet, 50 yards. You don't have to walk a lot.
No, you got some great. What restaurants are closest to you, Antonio?
Well, we have
Pine Country.
Pine Country, and which is
Yeah.
probably about 100 yards, and then right across the street you have a little Mexican place called El Corral. Right next to it, you have a place called Brood Awakenings, a coffee shop. Uh, about uh, yeah, 25, 30 yards maybe. You have Cruisers Cafe, and along that road you have a Pizza Factory. You've got
Bistro.
the Italian Bistro. So there's that Red Raven. Again,
Yeah.
everything's within 100 yards, so you don't have to walk anywhere.
Oh, the Pine Country. Not only do they have great shepherd's pie, but pie. Anybody who's
Papaya.
anybody who has seen me knows that I like pie. And Pine Country, oh my goodness, pie. They have delicious, wonderful pie. Yes,
Absolutely.
sir, Bob. Well, so what could be better? And this is a great time to talk about the Arizona 9 Motor Hotel because a lot of people, if you're looking to escape this miserable heat, and apparently we're going to be living with this, I can't believe the forecast. They're talking another 10 days of record breaking heat down here. And, well, you might consider a little bit of an escape and to Williams. I'm sure it's only about 90 up in Williams. And
Right now it's about 72 degrees. It's actually really
oh,
nice.
oh my. It is currently already here in Kingman, 86 degrees. And yeah, take a trip up to Williams. And if you're listening down in Phoenix or Bullhead City, Lake Havasu City, it's not that far. It's a beautiful drive and great place to, well, spend the night and start the day off with some pie and coffee. Ah.
That sounds amazing. Yes, sir.
Especially when you're down in Needles. I was just looking at the forecast, and it's only a few hours drive. That's one of the things a lot of people miss out on or don't think about it's is the diverse climates that we have here in this area with short drives, and it's not that far from Kingman or Needles or Phoenix up to Williams. That makes a great weekend getaway. That's
Yeah, it's definitely worth the drive. You can go out from 115 degrees to cool, 70, 75 degrees in the mornings, and it's beautiful. At most, you go into the mid 90s on some days, but that's high as it's gonna get. So it's well worth the drive.
I just pulled up today's forecast for Needles, California. 122 degrees expected today.
Ugh, no,
Yeah.
thank you.
Williams does get a little bit of snow, and now one of the things I enjoy about Williams in the wintertime, I spent a little time in the North Country, and a drive up to Williams in the winter reminds me how beautiful snow is and why I don't live in snow country anymore. It gives me both all at the same time.
Yeah.
Antonio, Paulina, is there anything else we can you want to share with folks today? Or
Not today, but there is a lot more to come, and just come to Williams, enjoy, stay with us. If not, stay with somebody, but share the adventure with folks out in the valley or Kingman or anywhere where it's hot. You'll love this place.
yeah, and I don't. Let's see. Amtrak stops in Flagstaff. They don't stop in Williams, do they?
No, they don't anymore. No, I don't think we even have a bus service. I don't think even Greyhound stops there anymore.
Gosh darn it!
Yeah.
That's a shame. I just thought I'd check because I know Amtrak runs a service from Chicago to Los Angeles, passes through Williams and
Right, but
Flagstaff.
yeah, they don't. They stop in Flagstaff, but not in Williams anymore.
I am quite surprised by that because of the Grand Canyon connection. I'm very surprised by that. I shouldn't be because Amtrak seems to be operated in a manner that we're going to get paid whether we have customers or not. So how can we discourage customers? Uh, but that's my personal beef with Amtrak.
Yeah.
Antonio, Paulina, you sound you're just wonderful host. And today, what I'll do later this afternoon, probably, I'll have the podcast published on Spotify and the other platforms. And I'll do a blog post about today's program. And I'll share some of this history that you have sent me. And I'll get with these postcard collectors and put you in contact. But I'll also get a hold of them and see if we can find some photos of the property from a little bit earlier. I think that's really intriguing. And also, like say, I'll check with Professor Nick Gerlich because, like say, I don't know if it's still there. This was several years ago, but he found a standing sign for that property out on the Wallapai Reservation on an early alignment of Route 66. I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. Yes, and anything we can share, by all means, we are always available. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is. We get calls at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's like, you got a room? Sure, why not?
Uh,
Yeah.
I admire I can see you guys have such a great, friendly, welcoming personality. And but that would be a challenge. That would be a challenge of motel ownership is being tethered to the job
Yeah.
24/7. That even if you enjoy people, even if the people are wonderful, that still would be a challenge. And we all know that not everyone is pleasant and not everyone is polite.
Well, that's true, and we've had our share, but you learn to live with it. It's like it's part of the life. It's part of our life. It's part of what we do. So let's just run it and see what happens.
Yeah, that's the spirit. There's a lot of great things coming down the pike for folks on Route 66 this year, as the third annual International Route 66 Festival in Prague, the Czech Republic. And here's an odd thing: we talk about the international nature of Route 66. Uh, Zdeněk Jurisic of the Czech Route 66 Association runs tours on Route 66 for more than 15 years, I think now. And he's hosting or helping put together the Route 66 Festival in Prague. His daughter was working in Australia. She met a gentleman from Brazil that was working in Australia. They moved back to Brazil, and they are currently developing the Route 66 Association of Brazil.
That's interesting to know.
Yeah, yeah, the international nature is just phenomenal. Uh, Folks, I got to tell you, Antonio, Paulina, thank you so very much for dedicating yourself to giving this property a new lease on life. And thank you for taking time from your schedule this morning to talk with me. I don't know if anybody's got any questions. We got some folks here from Michigan and Scotland and a few other places. If you've got any questions, please chime in. I had a few other motel updates I wanted to bring up to speed. Uh, Larry Smith, I understand, is considering going back to Tennessee, back to family. So he will probably be putting up the Motel Safari for sale in Tucumcari. Uh, David Brenner, I just spoke with him when I was coming back from Tulsa and stayed with him and met with some folks there in Tucumcari. As usual, David's got some big plans for the property. In fact, he's got an anniversary celebration coming up. His 10th anniversary of opening his motel. And I understand that people are coming for the birthday party from well, from Illinois and from New York and from all over the United States to help him celebrate. I find that pretty amazing. We'll have to do, Antonio, that's what we'll have to do for your 10th anniversary. We'll have to have a birthday party and see how many people we can get to show up.
We can definitely try and accommodate as many people as we can, and we'll enjoy having some pie.
Ah, I guess you noticed that.
Cake.
I am a sucker for that. I'm a sucker for good pie. And you know, the Pine Country, seriously, they have good food, but I put them probably in my top 10 pie locations on Route 66. I hope they've continued that tradition. I haven't stopped there this year, but it's kind of an annual rite of passage. Antonio and Paulina, I have been so addicted to Pine Country Pie in the past that on several occasions I have gotten my wife up on a Sunday morning and we've driven to Williams just for pie and coffee.
It's well worth the drive, I tell you. It's a way to spend the afternoon listening to live music around some of the restaurants, and yeah, it's definitely a place that you have to come visit to see what it's like.
And you know, and Williams is so it's so the business district, the two Route 66 corridors is so compact. And on a nice, especially an evening, summer evening, it is so perfect to walk. It's ideally suited just to walk from one end of town to the other. It's just perfect. And well, after you've gotten yourself full of pie and good food and walked one end of town to the other, you're going to be a little tired. So you might as well spend the night. So you might as well check into the Arizona 9 Motor Hotel, make an evening of it.
There you go. Well, thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. And yes, by all means. And next time we are in your area, we'll definitely stop by and say hello.
Oh, please do. I'll show you where they've got good pie, and I'll give you the 50-cent tour of Kingman,
There you go.
and see if we can get some internet introductions going and get some networking going.
That's the beauty about being in the hospitality business. You'll never know who you're gonna find along the road, and get friends from all over the world. Why not? It's you live once. Let's enjoy every minute of it.
Oh, God bless. Those are wise words. And you know, especially after the apocalypse of COVID, uh, man, those words are more true than ever. And just embrace life. Yeah. And that means, you know, getting to know people. Get out of your bubble. Visit with different people. Yeah, that Antonio, those are wise words indeed. I'll get this published today. I'll send you guys a link for it, and I'll also have a connection to your Facebook page so people can get a hold of you. Do you have a website yet,
We
Antonio?
do. It's the Arizona 9 motorhotel.com.
Okay.
Yeah, for some reason there is another website that belonged to somebody else that's still links to a way to make reservations, but it's not ours. It's called Arizona Motor Hotel, I believe, and we haven't been able to find who the owner is. The previous owner seemed to not know who made it, but we would love to have it so that we can actually make it proper and basically not have a multitude of websites out there that don't belong to us.
Oh yeah, it's bad enough they clone so many websites now, but you don't need an old dormant website. So, folks, make sure you get that 9 in there and make some reservations.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
Escape that heat for a weekend. It'll make you feel better.
Oh yeah.
Antonio, Paulina, I look forward to a real face to face visit. The well laid plans of mice and men, and I know that no apology is necessary, but my schedule kind of got derailed, which it often does. So when I went to Tulsa, I ended up having 2 days to make the drive. And needless to say, that didn't allow a lot of time for Well, it didn't even allow a lot of time for pie and coffee. Just a lot of time for driving.
Oh yeah, I've taken those roads many a time, nonstop, just because of that time.
Yeah, it's no good. When you get into a situation like that, it's a good living if you don't plan on living long.
Hmm.
It's not good. It's not good. Guys, thank you so much today. I've enjoyed this conversation immensely. Uh, I hope we've inspired a road trip or two, and I hope we've encouraged people to also consider doing something different in life besides just a job. Get out and maybe consider doing something and making some contributions. And and we've been sharing America's story. That's what we do here with Jim Hinckley's Americas. Share America's story. Um, yeah, this has been wonderful, Antonio. Thank you. And Paulina, I hope you both have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Jim.
Ah, you bet. Truly my pleasure. And Sam Murray says hello, by the way. He's currently in Chicago.
All right. Thank you, Sam.
You bet. Bye bye, my friends.
Bye,
Bye
Jim.
bye. Thank you.
Guys, wasn't that wonderful? You know, see, this is really why I get so excited doing this, and I'm very blessed to be able to do this. Is people like this, Antonio and Paulina. It's I get invigorated and I get inspired. Uh, this has been good. My friends, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. We've got a couple of little news items I want to crank out real quick for you. Uh, we've got an issue in Oklahoma, the Ribbon Road, and I'll explain that. I've got a link here and I'll put it up, but it's Oklahoma Route66.com/ribbon. Uh, we're about to lose this. And the Oklahoma Route 66 Association is working with the lieutenant governor and others trying to find a solution to negotiate. And it's complicated because this section of Route 66 is part county property and part private property. And development would erase something very, very unique in Route 66 evolution and history. The Ribbon Road is one of those anomalies. I have found no one that can explain why this was built. Even I was talking to people in the Oklahoma Highway Department. The road actually predates Route 66 by a few years. It was built in the early 20s as a state highway. But get this, it was used as Route 66 until the 1930s. This damned road is only 9 feet wide with concrete edging and wide shoulders. Now, how that's going to work for a highway and why it was built, who knows? But it's definitely a very rare and unique part of Route 66 history, and it's endangered. So if you can help sign their petition, it's Oklahoma Route66.com/ribbon. Uh, I think that's really, really important. Got a couple other things I'll be sharing with you pretty soon. I've got information now from on the European Route 66 Festival. We're working on putting together a information booth, and I'll have that address posted shortly if you want to send rack cards or promotional materials to Prague. I don't know yet. My attendance is up in the air. I have attended the previous two festivals, the one in Zlin, Czechia, and I spoke and attended the festival in Germany. But this year, I'm not sure. My next big road trip, I see people are asking, will be to the Miles of Possibility Conference in Edwardsville, Illinois. That is scheduled for the weekend of October 31st. Chances are I'll be driving there. That's what I usually end up doing. But I'll keep you posted. And I have a tentative program at the Missouri History Museum. We're working on getting details together. That will be in Forest Park, St. Louis. That is, that again, that's an old alignment, the original alignment of Route 66 through Forest Park. Let's see if I got what else I've got here from folks that we need to mention real quick. Yeah, travel in the desert. Be very, very careful. Um, Take lots of water. If you don't need it, somebody might. It's just a good rule of thumb. I had a great opportunity to meet with some professors and students from Gaylord University. They're working on a Route 66 Centennial program. They were coming through. It's part of University of Oklahoma. Gaylord is their journalism school. I'll get some information up on that pretty soon. They've got a fundraiser. They need a little help for this wonderful, wonderful project that they're working on, and it's tied into the Route 66 Centennial. One more, I think we got here is AAA Route 66 Road Fest. I do not have details on the dates for next year. I do know that organizers they hit the ground running. As soon as they packed up the exhibits from this year's event, they went right to the next one, and they've got big plans and even bigger plans for the Centennial. And this is my first year of attending the Route 66 Road Fest in Tulsa. And I got to tell you, I was impressed. They had a sincere focus on providing visitors with uh, an opportunity to experience the infectious magic of Route 66, the experience, its history, its culture, and even things that were uncomfortable, like the Negro Motorist Green Book exhibit. Things that are uncomfortable, but they're a great part of the American story. And they had vendors, representatives from various state Route 66 associations. And I really enjoyed the emphasis they placed on family, making it a family friendly weekend. I found that very impressive. Hey, my friends, I won't beat my gums too much, but I want to say thank you to Antonio and Paulina and to everyone who joined us this morning. We will do this again next week, and got something a little special for you. We'll talk about that a little bit later. In the meantime, since we've been talking road trips, well, let's wrap this up with a little music from our friends, Joe and Woody and the boys of the Road Crew, roadcrew66.com. Vaya con Dios, mi amigos.
Friend, on an old road. Take a 2-lane trip of memories into mysteries unknown. Come along for the ride. Jim Hinckley's America. Jim Hinckley's America.
Hey, one more thing I forgot. Mud on 66 here in Kingman. Lenore gifted me with a Coffee for Life card. So, if you're in Kingman, Arizona, and I'm in Kingman, Arizona, you need a book signed or something of that nature, well, you might find me down at Mud on 66. That's my go-to coffee place. I always enjoy it there anyway, but now I have added incentive. And if I'm not there, well, I might be over at Calico's restaurant on Beale Street, one block off 66. They got good food, but guess what else they got? That's right, good pie. And with that said, goodbye, my friends.